Welcome to Business Growth Talks, the podcast that tackles the tough realities of growing a business. I'm Mark Hayward, and if you're feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or unsure of your next steps, you're in the right place. Each week, I bring you the real strategies that successful entrepreneurs have used to push past difficulties, boost revenue, and build a stronger, more profitable business. Scaling up, keeping customers, managing cash flow, and building a team is tough, and the stakes are high. Our guests share what worked, what didn't, and the critical lessons learned along the way. Stay tuned for strategies, insights, and advice you need to tackle challenges head on and take your business to new heights. If you're ready to grow, strengthen, and succeed, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Just a quick one. I just wanted to say thank you very much for joining me today and being with me on this show. One thing that is really important I want to share with you is this show is growing really well, and I'm so proud of it, and I'm so pleased that you're enjoying this content. But if you could please hit the follow and subscribe to this channel, it will really help the channel on its being able to grow and the people that we can have on this show. So please do consider, if you have a moment, please can you hit the subscribe button and the follow button, and I would really appreciate it. Today on Business Growth Talks, we have Simon Severino, who is a founder of Strategy Sprints, a consulting firm that helps B2B businesses, agencies, consultancies, and SaaS companies accelerate growth and streamline their sales process. With over 21 years worth of experience in B2B sales strategy, he has worked with more than 1,600 companies worldwide to increase revenue, improve efficiency, and scale with ease. He is also the author of Strategy Sprints in 2022, which outlines his proven framework for sustained business growth. His Strategy Sprints method helps businesses achieve measurable improvements such as 25% increase in pricing power, win rates, and sales velocity by implementing agile sales and marketing strategies. Hello, Simon. How are you today?
Mark, thanks for having me. Hello, everyone.
Hello. Absolute pleasure having you on my show. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. Sales is so pivotal and so important in business. If you don't have sales, you don't have a business. So we're really going to delve into what's the sales strategy for you and how you've helped your clients do that. So really excited to have you on the show. As all of my guests on this show, I ask the same question to start with. What does a business mindset mean to you?
Business mindset for me means systems mindset. The whole versus the parts. So a business is a complex adaptive systems made of people and technology and data. And if you think business, that means you're not thinking a short-term partial optimization, whether is it optimizing yourself or a department or a team. You're always thinking what's the best for the whole thing, and that whole thing includes the people you are here to serve, so the outside world, and what is the best, what is the contribution that the parts can do for the whole thing.
So your idea of business is being able to break it down into different not silos, different areas. It could be operations, it could be finance, it could be sales, it could be marketing. So for you, you feel that's the definition of a business. Is that right?
Yes, a business is marketing, sales, operations, but a business is not here to do business. A business is here to solve a problem for somebody that's outside of that business. So there is an outside, there is an inside, and the inside is in service of the outside. So if you think of Amazon, Amazon is here to help people with cloud migration. That's Amazon, that's AWS. And now inside
Yeah.
of AWS, there's a marketing department, sales department, operations department. But they do not optimize themselves. They do optimize the whole AWS. That's why they are successful. And if they start optimizing the parts, the whole business would be less viable. That's why when you think in business, you think always in systems. And in systems, there is an outside and inside, and there are the parts. And so for me, a business mindset is thinking about the whole system.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, and we know each other. We've spoken a few times before this podcast, and I know that you target businesses that have been through that very early startup phase where there's 3 to 5 to 6 people and everyone's just throwing in and everyone's just doing a little bit of marketing, a little bit of finance, that sort of scrappy start stage of a business, where I know you work with the companies that are a little bit mature, with larger, a few more employees, and they've proved to the market that it actually works. Do you think that's what you've defined your what a business mindset is? Do you think that's replicated because of your target market of who you're targeting with strategy sprint
Yes,
strategies?
we're working right now with solopreneurs and we're working with Google. So the smallest and the biggest. And if you're a solopreneur, business mindset means, so for example, when I started out, it was just me, right? I was a strategy consultant. That's it. But I had a meeting with myself every Friday. And I structured that meeting as if I was like a 20 people company. I had to report the marketing numbers, the sales numbers, and the operations numbers. I had to report
Right.
what did I do, what worked, what didn't work, what do we learn, what do we more of next week, what will we do less of next week. So you might say, it's just one person. Do you need a meeting? And I say, yes. If you have business mindset, then it starts already when you are just one person, just a founder, but you have a meeting with yourself because you have to look at the whole thing and at the parts. And so every Friday, I would have a little strategy meeting with myself. I would look at the focus card. We will probably go deeper into the focus card, which is the whole strategy of a business on one page. And so I had that in front of me on a spreadsheet. And it said, these are the 3 years vision, the 1 year goals, and the 90 days activities. And these are the metrics, Simon, that you have to report to the Friday session, which was just me. So it was a little bit ridiculous, but it was also, I think, the right thing to do because later on, then we were then 3 people and 5 people and 8 people. It's still the same structure. Every Monday,
Yeah.
we look at what's the most important thing to do. And now everybody has one swim lane, one thing that they do from end to end.
Yeah.
And they say on a Monday, this is my priority for this week. And on Friday, we look at the number to that. So if they said, Simon, I get you on podcast, that's my priority. Like Lou's job is get Simon on podcasts, 3 podcasts per day. And so on Friday, he will report number of podcasts booked. Let's say he says 16. And we know that his average is 15 per week because we do this every Friday. And we say, oh, first of all, congrats. I have a button with some sounds, and then it goes, pew, 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 congrats, Lou. And now let's learn from this. What did you do differently? Is it the email copy? Is it the account that you used to send it? Did you use a different account, like your personal account instead of the Strategy Sprints account? What is the difference? This slight upward variation. What can we learn from it so that we can do more of that next week? And that's a Friday meeting.
Amazing. And we'll go a lot more into how you've grown your business and the frameworks that you help your clients with. But before we get into that, tell me one thing about your upbringing which reflects on who you are today.
My father had a ton of books. He's a books guy. And yes, my room is also full of books, and our whole house is full of books. And so I got from him that learning is the most important thing. And also teaching. He's also a teacher. And I'm also a teacher from my, if you want, from my, in my essence. I'm a consultant, I'm a coach, but I teach a lot. I have a YouTube channel where I teach. So my essence is helping others by breaking down complex things into simple and helping them solve problems. And so from my father, I got these teaching values and impetus. And from my mom, the entrepreneurial genes. She used to start things very quickly, impulsively. They never got very old or not even slightly successful. But she would start the next thing and come up again and stand up again. And so, yeah, that's my upbringing.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing. So when I was looking at your past history, career history, something that sprung out to me was you said about you feel yourself as an educator, as a teacher. So you lectured before Sprint Strategies in University of Salzburg and Donau. Why did you feel that you needed to go into lecturing, and why did you stop?
I did fall in love with the topic of strategy. And so when I was asked, Simon, do you want to teach strategic management in this executive MBA? I said, oh my God, of course. But I don't even have an MBA. Should I be teaching this? And they said, we need practitioners. We need people who actually are in the field doing this with CEOs. And those CEOs, they are sitting there. So we need somebody who knows their life. Not, we don't need an academic teacher. We need a practitioner. And I said, oh, of course, yes, I'm going to do that. And as soon as I was in front of the first 20 CEOs, I felt really in the right place. I enjoyed it so much. And I did it for many more years. And I'm still doing it. Instead of being in MBAs, I'm now on YouTube. And I'm now in our mastermind in the Sprint Club, in the 200K Club. So I do it now in a more bespoke way. But I love teaching. And the topic, strategic management, that's my love language. You have goal setting and problem solving. Those are the two main components. And this is important for everybody to really master. And in there, you have the now, which problems to solve now, but also the strategic part where you pull yourself out of your current week and say, yeah, but if we look at the next 5 years, 10 years, what do we want to bring into the world? What's the big, ambitious goal that's dancing inside our chest right now and that we have start building?
So do you, it's interesting. So you feel that you've always been a teacher. You feel like that's an in essence of, you're not necessarily an entrepreneur or a business owner first. You feel you're a teacher. The subject you teach is business and entrepreneurship, but you feel that you're, the whole essence of you is that you feel that you're a teacher.
Yes, I would describe the core essence as being a teacher. My roles are CEO, father, husband, etc. But in the end, I do it because I want people to be empowered, and you empower by wisdom and knowledge and action. Those are the three things.
So was there an aha moment for you when you realized that you needed to create and start Sprint Strategies?
Strategy sprints was really just me going solo first. And I was frustrated with the way we did strategy in some contexts. For example, BMW was asking us, how can we be faster than our competitor? And some things were working really well, like the tools, the models to discuss and to decide and to align the top team. But some things were taking too long. Traditional project management was too slow. And I was looking for faster ways. I wanted real time work instead of delayed work. And so I started studying the sprint disciplines. In IT, you have sprints of
Yep.
14 days.
Yep. I did that for a number of years, managing agile sprints with teams. Yeah.
And it works well. So,
Yeah,
why
it does.
isn't there a sprint for the executive team? Why do they have the most boring board meeting, which is just blah, 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 and presentations? And so, what I did is I cut all the presentation, I cut all the blah, 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 and we started doing executive work in the sprint way. And so that became the strategy sprints method. Every Monday, everybody says what the priority is. Every Friday, we learn from the week. So the cycle, which was a quarterly cycle, became now a weekly cycle. And the annual planning became actually quarterly planning. And so we made everything more small and quick, which made it more agile. And now those CEOs were like, oh, yeah, that's exactly what we need. It's more natural because we don't take decisions once a year, we take them every week, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. So why sales though? Why have you? Because you fashioned your business and your career around sales.
Yeah.
Why do you feel sales is possibly the most important aspect of business?
It's great to have a full pipeline, and if you don't have it, everything goes south. So it's the oxygen of a business. And I have always worked from being pulled by my current clients. So whatever they need, I innovate on. And so in 22 years, the last 10 years, they have always pulled lead gen, pipeline, deal flow, the sales topic.
Right. Yeah.
While 20 years ago, they would more ask about planning and project management and innovation in terms of digitization. Right now, they're all asking about pipeline topics. Can I make my sales time shorter, Simon? Can I increase my price, Simon? And so we innovate with our clients' requests. They pull something, we get working, and we go deeper and deeper. And this is how the tools get built. Because as soon as they work 10 times, they become a module in the Sprint University, they get distributed in the Sprint Club. And they were all asking for lead gen. Simon, I need better conversations with better people. I'm talking too much to the wrong people. My pipeline is not full of high ticket, high quality people. How do I fill it? And
Mm.
recently,
Mm.
somebody takes me 6 meetings, 7 meetings to close a deal. That's very inefficient. Can we get it down to 3, 4 meetings?
Amazing. So who do you serve? Who are your clients? And how do you acquire them? What's your marketing and sales process for acquiring your clients?
Yes, our clients are high ticket professional services, financial advisors, and tech teams. And by high ticket, I mean that they sell something that's above $10,000, $20,000, $200,000. So it's not a $60 course.
Mm.
It is actual transformation. They transform either a business or a life on the other side. And that is via a really transformative program that takes 3 months, 6 months, a year, or even more. So, in this high ticket situation, one of the main problems is the length of the sales cycle. And so
Mm.
sometimes it takes a year from awareness to engagement to closing the deal. Of our 274 tools, most of them are around how can we shorten that? And there are multiple ways that you can do to shorten that. Happy to go deeper into any of those aspects.
Yeah, go for it. Explain maybe one or two of your frameworks that you've built and how they serve your clients.
Yeah. So, one thing in the very beginning of every sprint, we introduce the focus card. It's on one page, the strategy of the company. It becomes a spreadsheet and it says, this is our 3 years vision. This is how we break it down into annual goals. And then the most important activities for the next 90 days are these. And those activities get one metric each. So if you say my most important activity is my YouTube channel, then the metric will be opt-ins from the description of the video. It's not watch time, that would be a vanity metric. We don't care about watch time. It's about what fills the pipeline. So if you do a video and then in the description it says, hey, download this tool, how many people clicked download? That would be an opt-in number that gets
Yeah.
measured every Friday. And so this is a core tool, the focus card, that we introduce in the first week of a 12 weeks sprint. And everybody loves it. The solopreneurs, because it makes stuff simple, and the large corporations, because for every country or for every product, now they have just one page.
So I was going to say about your sales cycle, because you said you're trying to reduce the sales cycle. And for the larger organizations, obviously they're tendering for projects. This takes sometimes 6 months more
Yeah.
to be able to have conversations with large corporations. And then on the other end, you've got the sales cycle, which can be very quick. You have someone register, they do a sales call, they're signing up.
Yeah.
How have you been able to create frameworks that work both for the smaller companies and also for the large companies as well?
The psychology is the same. The reason why people buy is always emotional. And so what you need to create in the beginning is relevance, and then later on trust, and in the last bit, safety and easiness. So you have to create these four psychological conditions. So in awareness, and that's the same if you are one person selling your services or if you are a corporation, because the buyer is always one person and has the same psychology. And the beginning is, why is this relevant to me? Does this even matter to me? Should I click it? And so that's a marketing problem and a positioning problem. This is where we help them optimize for standing out, colors, visuals that are different, that are interesting, that are not used by everybody else. So if you go to our LinkedIn, we have a ton of animals that I think nobody is using on LinkedIn right now. We always try to find something that's real, that's us, and it's fresh. And you will see a ton of cheetahs. Now, we are not in the zoo business. There's no consulting company. You will not see McKinsey with a panda on LinkedIn. So maybe that is one thing to look for. How can you stand out visually, the words that you use, the language, and standing out is the first problem to solve. The second one, now that they have interest, how do you engage them? Can you get them to do something, to try something, to test something? Again, you go to McKinsey, you have to get a meeting first, and it will take weeks until any
Yeah.
conversation
Yeah.
happens, if it happens. And so as we compete with them, we went, how can we make it much easier? How can they taste it? You can't taste a McKinsey project. How can you taste a strategy sprints project to see if it fits? If you buy a suit, you want to try it. If you buy cheese in the supermarket, they say taste it. So we were looking for how can we make people taste it. And now we have a 7 days free trial. On our website, strategysprints.com, the first thing it says, try it for free 7 days. Now you get people to engage. They try something. You see how they use it. And now they are, of course, assessing you, but we are also assessing them for a fit to work together. Because with how are they using the tools? What's the quality of their answers? We are also selecting if we want to make them an offer. And they are selecting, are these guys legit? Is it accurate and precise? Is it around my needs or their needs? Can I trust them? Does it work in my specific industry and situation, in my size, in my maturity level, my team size?
It's really interesting, Simon, because it sounds like that your business is based on, you have to measure, you have to be able to measure what you're doing, you have to have a strategy on what you're going to implement, but the psychology of sales, it feels like it's completely embedded into everything that you do in part of your teaching and consulting.
I hope so, yes, because it must be always around the buyers. So our principles, our values, if you want, are continuous improvement, that's the sprint way, but also introspection and collaborations. Those are the three things that matter to us: continuous improvement, introspection, and collaboration. But those things, they need always to be around the client, the buyer,
Yes.
always around the buyer. So when we say continuous improvement is how can we make the app better for them? How can we make the 7 days experience great enough that in 7 days you can create so much value that at day seven they would miss it and so they stay. It's always around the client, and that's psychology. That you have to look
And
at how they use the
absolutely,
product.
absolutely, you have to be client obsessed. You have to be able to add value. You have to be able to be obsessed on getting their needs met, their pain points, meeting them at those places. I think it's sometimes we get overwhelmed by metrics and sometimes you forget. There's a book called Psychology of Money. It's a really good
Morgan
book
Housel,
on,
really good, yeah.
yeah, because behind every metric of sales, marketing, etc., there's a person who's interested in buying your services.
Yes.
And I absolutely love that idea. It's like the economy. Everyone can talk like macro economy, but do people have jobs? What's the retail looking like in your area? That's the economy. So the psychology of money, of business, I think is sometimes understated. And it sounds like you're one of your differentiators from other providers is that you're talking about people and talking about how to engage and get interest from people. So that's amazing. You promise, this is a promise that you make, that you're going to promise 25% increase in pricing power, win rates, and sales velocity. Now, how do you do that? How are you able to do that for your clients? How do you guarantee that?
So there are many things that contribute to those three things. And the fun thing is when you improve those three things by 25%, it compounds to plus 99% in revenue. So you basically in 90 days have doubled revenue, which is pretty good for many teams. And so how do you do that? The There is an external work to do that's done by our tools. We have 274 tools. And what is a tool? A tool is, for example, the focus card is a tool, right? We had to solve the problem. How do you make complex strategic planning very simple on one page? And after we did this with 25 teams in 4 different industries in 10 different countries, we said, okay, it's working now. It's a thing. Let's save it. And that's one tool. So in 22 years, we have developed 274 tools. So there is a
Wow.
plethora of helpful processes, proven blueprints and processes. That's the external part. But a fool with a tool is still a fool. So that's the difference between knowledge and wisdom. Wisdom you reach when you start teaching and giving those tools to people, and you say, why are they still not doing it? And then you realize, oh, there is a psychology moment involved here. And this is when you move from knowledge to wisdom. This is what we teach our coaches because we also certify coaches we enable them to use those 274 tools with their clients and build a consulting practice. It's called a certified strategy sprints coach. And when I do that for 6 months, I am helping them understand psychology and how to apply the tools. Because if you give amazing tools to somebody but they don't apply them, then there is no use. And so really the only bottleneck is, do they use them? If they use them, they will increase by 25% their pricing power. The bottleneck is, can you get them to use them?
And also, with your coaches, you need to know which tool will work for a specific client. If you've got over 200 tools, as you say, they could spend 6 months going through all of the tools, and not actually implement any of them. How do you and your client, your coaches, know what tool works for which company?
It's experience. It's 22 years in the field. You have to pick the right one and you have to pick it in the right order. And that comes only with experience. You have to do this 1,000 times and then you know
Yeah.
it. And so I've done it 1,000 times and now I've created a little sprint university for the coaches. And so they get that experience and that wisdom immediately. And it takes me 6 months to actually make sure that they apply it correctly. So I supervise them for the first 6 months on a daily basis
Yeah.
until it works. For example, if you say to somebody, hey, you should write down your processes, your marketing processes, sales processes, and operations, and this is how you do it, and then you give them the tool, they will not apply it. You have to do it in a different way. And everybody knows, yeah, I should write down my processes. I know. But the reason why they don't do it is because you have to start with the money making processes. It has to start with the payment process. Write down how you
Yeah.
get paid. And you have to follow the money back. What happens before you get paid? Oh, they sign the contract. Okay, write down how you write the contract. What happens before writing the contract? Oh, I have a demo call. Okay, write down how you conduct the demo call. And if you do it that way, they will write down every process and then their exit multiple will be much higher because now they have a sellable business. But if you just tell them write down the processes or you allow them to start with the marketing processes, which most people do, like how do we create content, then they won't continue until completion. So these are the little things that you learn in 20 years of applying
Yeah.
the processes.
Amazing. What do you consider to be your biggest setback in your journey, and how did you overcome it?
I have setbacks literally every day. How I overcome them? By working out. I literally do 9 hours of working out per week, most of it outdoors. And the reason is you overcome them by protecting your energy and your presence and your awareness. Because you have to be in that moment able to understand the problem, accept the problem, surrender to it, and start researching the solution again. So that's a lot of emotional work. It takes literally, it takes energy, it takes calories. So what I do is I make sure that my body, my emotions, and my mind are always filled, that the battery is always full. And there are many things that I do in terms of on the body level and with quality of sleep and playing enough with my kids, meeting my friends enough. So I make sure that my energy is always full and I can be as present as and as creative as possible in that moment so that then I can tackle the intensity of the moment so we can solve more problems.
I'm going to push you a little bit on this to explain a little bit more. What we all face problems, issues, things that are going on in your day, in your week. And I get that you exercise, keeping your body and mind and spirit full, your well full is the way that you overcome it. But in your growth of those 20 years, was there a situation where you questioned whether you should carry on this journey? Is there anything that immediately springs to mind that or challenged you whether to continue?
All the time. Entrepreneurs ask themselves this question all the time. Every Friday, we come together and look at the numbers. If those numbers don't go up week by week, we ask ourselves, should we stop this? And when you ask yourself, should you stop this? Now you have to differentiate between temporary and infinite. So, temporary means if it doesn't work, just stop it. And then there is infinite. Which are the infinite things that you should still do even if they don't work? For example, two things for us are infinite. We never change them. Who we are here to serve and which problems we solve. We are here to solve entrepreneurs. We solve the problems of sales. We will never change that, whatever happens. That's where working out comes in because it's just about endurance.
Yeah,
And
because
to
it's a
endure,
marathon, not a sprint, isn't it? Like, I know you use sprints as your methodology, but you have to know that it's a long-term game, and growing businesses have lots of ups and downs and things that blockers and obstacles for you to overcome.
yeah, and those are the only two things that you will never pivot.
Yeah.
Everything else you can pivot every Friday in our method. So if you have a product that doesn't sell, skip it. If you have a service that people don't pick up, stop offering it. So you can stop everything. You have a YouTube channel that's not growing. Stop doing YouTube. You can change everything except those two things. The rest is an experiment, is a permanent assumption. I think that YouTube is a good idea for us because it's a search engine. I think we should be on YouTube. But it's always an assumption and it has to be validated every Friday with numbers.
Amazing. Can you give an example of a client that you've worked with that you were able to transform their business and deliver those 25% increases in pricing, etc.? Can you give a case study, an example of someone that you've been able to help and turn around their business?
Absolutely. Sani Abdul Jabbar runs an IT consulting company. He has developers for everything technical that you can find. And so he sits in Los Angeles and he has this broad collection of experts. They can solve everything, the coding and everything tech for everybody in California, which is a huge market. And by being so broad, they were actually having a lower profitability. And when we started with the focus card and defining, the next tool is then the ideal client, anti-ideal client. So who are you here to serve? 5 levels deep. And on the other side, who are you not here to serve? 5 levels deep. And so we started applying those tools. They become laser sharp and focused on just one aspect of their services. And that became the LinkedIn content of every week. And that became a newsletter. That newsletter started to grow. The pipeline was full with the right people. And he made us a video which says, Simon, my sales went through the roof just by simplifying who they are here to serve and picking one of their services from the multiple possible services. We picked one and optimized that one. And so that created so much clarity on the other side. On LinkedIn, it was clear what he stands for, and that has filled pipeline.
How have you been able to grow a global business? The fact that you're covering so many different geography levels, you're based in Austria, but it sounds like you've got clients in LA, all across America and Europe and stuff like that. How have you been able to successfully grow your business globally?
You know what's funny? It's easier to grow globally than it is to grow locally. And many people ask me this and say, Simon, I'm in this country, I want to enter that country, how do I do it? It's so much easier since the internet.
Mm,
Like I'm here in Vienna, my client Sunny is in Los Angeles. It's the same distance. I click a Zoom button
yeah.
and my city here in Vienna or Los Angeles, it's the same distance via Zoom.
Okay,
So
just on that, was COVID a changing point? Because Zoom existed pre COVID and people were using it. But in the advent of COVID and everyone having to go online because of working from home and furlough and lockdowns, did your business change again during COVID, or was it already in the Zoom world and you were a pioneer of using Zoom, or did it change with COVID?
we were already remote as a remote team and we were working remote. But our clients were still saying, yeah, but please come here.
Mm,
It's just great to hang out with you guys. So why don't
yeah,
you pass by and we have maybe a weekend together or something? And so we still said yes sometimes because they enjoyed it so much, but it wasn't really necessary. And the amount of inefficiency when you fly there for 6 hours, the
yeah,
amount of value that you could create for other people during those 6 hours, it always felt very inefficient for us. So we were actually waiting for the world to embrace the internet, and definitely the pandemic helped.
yeah,
And our clients are not going back. Right now they say, no, it's much better. Actually, Simon, you are my Jarvis. Like I feel like Iron Man and you are Jarvis because I have you on my phone. I go to the Strategy Sprints app, I tag you, Simon, and I can tag the CEO of the consulting company. This is amazing. And so they tag me. They go to the app on their store. They either have the Apple app or the Google app. They go to Strategy Sprints. They tag me literally. They say, Simon, I could now go with this deal or try to win that deal. Here is a short description. What would you do? And in the same hour, they get an answer from me because it's on my phone, it's on my iPad, so it
yeah,
reaches me.
yeah. It does.
Sometimes I'm playing chess with my kids on the iPad because they love playing chess. And I see this little cheetah, Sprint Club notification. And then I say to the kids, okay, go take a break. I need to answer this quickly. And then I answer them. And so I've created value, and then I go back to playing chess. So this is how real time things have become. And they are
Yeah.
now used to reaching me in the same hour. So if I go back to in the room, they have to wait for 2 weeks for me to get to that city. And so they're not
Absolutely.
going back either.
How do you think you've evolved as a leader?
That's a daily work of evolving as a leader. I'm a beginner in evolving as a leader, and I am the bottleneck for our company and our team. The work for me is to open the heart even more, to, to create even more value for the whole system. And that's daily, continuous work. Doing the thing, doing the right thing versus doing the profitable thing. Doing the right thing versus doing the thing that is good for the ego. Doing the right thing, even if it means that we lose a deal. Those are the things that I'm working on every day. I do it with yoga, with introspection, with reading books, with being in masterminds with other CEOs, in our own mastermind, talking about these things and tackling them even when they are uncomfortable. So that's an ongoing work, I would say.
Amazing. What do you think your risk appetite is?
I'm also an investor, and so 2, 3 hours of my day are just managing my own portfolio and my family's portfolio. And in there, I describe it as a conservative portfolio. We own 12 companies and we do conservative options. Now, when people hear options, they go, oh my God, highly leveraged. But it's less risky. So there is defined risk and there is undefined risk. And there is actually less risk in having an active system that takes measured risk on a continuous basis and measures that. So, for example, the focus card, every Monday we take some risks, but every Friday we measure the outcome. So it's you are at risk from Monday to Friday. You can change direction on Friday. So we love risk. We take a ton of risks, but they are so small, or yeah, they are so small that they are reversible quickly.
Yeah.
We go for maximum amount of failures, maximum amount of learning per week.
That's amazing. What's the plan for the next 2 to 5 years for you and your business?
Our vision is to have fun and to enable our clients to have fun. So when their sales pipeline is dry, that's not funny. When it's full, when there is a surplus, when they can say yes and no because they are oversubscribed, they have a waiting list of ideal clients, and they have more demand than supply, now they can have fun because now they can just close shop and go into the weekend and be there for their families, for their friends, and actually enjoying their life. So that's our big vision is our clients have more fun because their pipeline is full, and we have more fun because we grow with them.
Amazing. Do you have an exit strategy for your business?
It is a highly sellable business because it's a franchise now.
Oh,
There
okay,
is
it's a friend.
no,
You franchise your strategy sprints now.
yes, there is a certification component of that. There is an IP licensing component of that. The book Strategy Sprints came out in 3 languages. So English was first, then it came out in Chinese this year. It will come out in Russian next year. So there is a component of scalability that makes it sellable. It's not dependent on single people. It's enough of a brand and processes that it's in theory highly sellable. But I would never sell it. Never. Because our philosophy is actually you stop building a business. Start building a life that generates income. So I ask myself frequently, if I wake up tomorrow a billionaire, how does my day look like? And I know exactly the answer, and it's pretty much the day that I will have tomorrow. So tomorrow is Saturday, but let's say Monday, right?
Yeah.
How will my day be as a billionaire on Monday? I will wake up at 5 a.m., I will go running. Then I make muesli, cereals for my kids. Then I play chess with them while we eat cereals, because we love that, etc. And so I can describe you the whole day, and guess what? That's the actual Monday. So to live my rich life, I don't need a ton of money, but I need freedom. The freedom
Right.
to say yes and no to people, yes and no to projects, yes and no to commuting. And this is what this business gives me. That's why I would never sell it. It's what
Interesting.
protects my freedom.
Interesting. Yeah, freedom is one of the reasons why people start their own businesses.
Yeah. And it's self expression and it's meaning. It's
Yeah.
serving the right people and the right ideas
Yeah.
because they give me back energy and meaning.
Yeah. That's amazing. Look, we're coming to the end of the interview. I ask the same 6 questions to all of my guests. They're quick fire questions. They don't need a quick fire answer. The first question is, what's the best decision that you've made?
I make terrible decisions all the time. Mostly they are terribles. But actually, wait a second. Yesterday I told a friend which was the best decision. Oh, yeah, there is one. The first one is marrying Francisca 13 years ago. The second one was 20 years ago when I decided, because a friend of mine who's a super smart guy, he said, Simon, real estate should only be 20% of any portfolio. So most people shouldn't buy the house they live in. And I was in my 20s and I decided that I will never buy the apartment or house that I live in, which is one of the big decisions, taking a mortgage. And so I've decided that I will pay for rent forever, and the excess cash will be used for investments. And so real estate can become an investment if it's 20% of the portfolio. But I accept that I will not enter debt and a mortgage situation over decades just for the apartment or the house that we live in. And that was the best decision.
Why?
Hidden costs that I am not paying, stupid costs that I am not paying, like the notaries or other like non-value adding
Yeah.
costs. And let's say it is a million or 2 million euros that I have not invested into that. I've invested those into things that grow at 15, 16, 18% CAGR, and they are creating wealth right now.
Yes. It's an interesting one whether you should rent or buy. I think some of it is cultural as well. In the UK, we've always, not always, but for a long time we've been owning your own home is the ambition. And I've spoken to quite a lot of people who have said that it's a dumb decision. Whatever you do, it's a dumb decision to.
Yeah.
But as you say, like any problem, I'm in real estate as well. I own some properties that I rent out in. It's as a landlord, you're in essence at the whim of your renter
You got
because.
yourself a job and a terrible one.
Next question: what's the best piece of advice you've been given?
Without giving me advice, I'm getting advice from my kids every day. So my kids are 2, 6, and 9. They come into my room, I'm working, and they say, Papa, let's play I'm a dinosaur and you are a rabbit. And there is hidden advice into this. What I've learned over time is just to say yes, drop whatever I'm doing, and just do it for 5 minutes. It's hilarious and it's fun and it's energizing. It's better than a coffee break. It's really good. And so they're giving me advice without giving me advice. They're just saying, let's play dinosaur. But the advice is actually live in the moment, This is what's happening right now. This is the reality right now. Not that screen and that person somewhere that needs more sales. This is it. This is it.
That's amazing. Living in the moment, I think, is something we should all try and prioritize, because looking into the past does good and being worrying about the future does good. So living in the moment is definitely a great methodology and a great value to have. Next question. Who's the person that's helped you most in your career?
Probably my first boss in the consultancy where I started, because you have to picture this. I was a philosophy and psychology major. So I had basically no right to any job because I couldn't do anything. I can just read
Yeah.
books and ask questions. So I can't really do anything. But this consultancy believed in me, gave me a job. And not just that, but they gave me access and the possibility to actually go into the biggest advisory projects ever. I flew to New York to do market entry strategy for Boehringer Ingelheim in the first year of being in that consultancy. So my first boss who gave me that first job in the consultancy definitely created the foundations for the next 20 years.
Amazing. Tell me about a regret that you have.
It's funny, regrets. I rarely think about regrets. What would I do differently? I don't regret anything. I'm thinking about the Edith Piaf song, Je regrette rien. I'm I'm right now in this moment. I'm deciding what to do with this moment. The everything else that's in the past, is it in my control? Is it any good if I regret or if I put any emotion on it? Right now, what can I do right now? That's where my focus is.
Fair enough. What are you most proud of?
Oh, I'm proud of 192 Sprint Club members that right now are creating magic for their clients. They're helping them reduce costs, increase sales. They're helping them be relevant, have meaningful relationships, have long lasting business relationships that create not just money, but really meaning for everyone over
Mm,
decades.
yeah, amazing. Tell me something about you that most people don't know.
Most people don't know that I have three kids, 2, 6, and 9, because you don't see them on Zoom frequently or on stages with me. Yes, I have three kids, and so I'm in the thick of it.
You are in the thick of it. I've got a 9 and 11-year-old, and they've gone through the sort of very baby stage and toddler phase, and now they are moving very fast into teenage, well before they should be. So you got still a lot to go, Simon. Amazing. What does legacy mean to you?
I changed my mind about legacy. For me, legacy is my wife proud of what I do, or my kids proud of what I do. That's legacy. It's very simple. It was complicated. I used to think that I have to create multi generational wealth. I literally used that phrase somewhere. I changed my mind about it, and now I'm thinking. And if you read the most recent letter by Warren Buffett, I think it's just 2 pages, but they are wonderful. He describes how he is dealing with his legacy, what he is passing on, who will run Berkshire, where is all that wealth going to be distributed, which charities, which of his children is going to inherit how much, what's the fund going to do. And those 2 pages are full of wisdom. And I'm trying to learn from that, from him specifically. But those 2 pages are really what is the minimum legacy that I want to give so that my kids can live freely, but not totally irresponsibly. So
Mm,
they can start whatever they want, but they cannot finish whatever they want just by the legacy.
yeah.
And so I'm thinking about the minimum. So, for example, the last 20 years, I was always, I'm saving 36% this month and putting that into stocks. Oh, this month I'm just saving 32% of my income. That was the focus. My focus is shifting now. Some months I save 1% of my income, and that's fine because I'm thinking, how can I spend it? How can we have fun? What is a way to
Mm.
create a memory together?
Yeah.
Legacy is in the now, is not what happens later. And
Mm.
so this is how I'm shifting my thinking about legacy is more how can we, what's a fun country to fly to and just explore for 3 days? That's what I'm thinking about in terms of legacy more than, hey, is it 36% that I'm saving this month or 35%? It's getting
Yeah.
much less important.
Amazing. Wise words. And lastly, where can people find you if they want to reach out to you or find out more about your business?
We hang out at strategysprints.com and people can book a time to talk to us or they can try out all the tools for free. They can join our community 7 days for free and our mastermind and find out if this is something that helps them accelerate sales.
Amazing. Thank you, Simon. Thank you so much for your time today. It's been an absolute pleasure. I think you've got some great lessons and tools that will be able to help lots of my audience. So I urge you to reach out to Simon and engage with him and his team. I'm sure you'll get some benefit from that. Thank you, Simon. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, everyone.
Cheers.